Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this video I want to talk to you about whether or not retouching is cheating. I know this is a very debatable subject. I have different viewpoints on it. I want to give you my viewpoint on it. Alright, so I made a little presentation for you to give you my honest viewpoint about whether retouching is cheating or not. And you're completely okay to not agree with me. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think. I will read your comment with pleasure. This is a G Master lens 85mm 1.4, one of my favorite lenses. And it has this ability to give, a very strong bokeh. Like this photo I shot with it, where you only have like the whole foreground is completely blurry, then it's very sharp in the middle and it's blurry in the background. Now, unless you really have some eyesight issue, no human beings is ever going to see things like this. It's a trick. We're doing an optical illusion using a lens. Now, how is that different from the software? Well, let's carry on. Also, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps me so that other people can see the video. Tell me what you want to learn. I make 2 videos per week. I read every single comment. And if you did not subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. This is another photo shot with an 85mm 1.4. I put some LED lights in the back. You get this crazy bokeh. That's not something that's normal. The lens created that. So is that cheating or is that not cheating? This is a photo of FRANÇAIS, my good friend, and you can see how blurry it's behind him. I mean, unless you really have some eyesight issues, you're never going to see that in reality. Again, a trick done by a device, not by a software, but by a lens. This is an ND1000. Now the ND1000 is going to stop the light from coming in and it's going to do some really cool long exposure effect. Check this out. This is a 1 second exposure. You can see how the wave looks like almost like old painting. Is that natural? No. It's a device, it's an object that created an optical illusion. All of that to create an emotional impact. This photo is an ND, I put the same filter on this photo. It's a 92-second exposure, 90 seconds or something, of a sunset. So you can see the stretchy clouds. Is that something normal? Is that cheating? It's using an ND filter. This one is a 3 minutes long exposure. Now, when you do a 3 minute long exposure and the sky is white and the water is kind of white, it becomes white after 3 minutes. So is that cheating or is that not cheating? You're getting my point. My point is, we are artists and we are trying to create an impact, an emotional impact. It doesn't matter whether you use a lens or a filter to create an emotion or 20 hours in Photoshop, you're still trying to create an effect. Of course, I'm a fine art artist. I'm not a reporter, like a war reporter who needs to make sure the photo is very accurate for people to, make sure that what's happening there is real. I remember when there was some riots in Paris, some people were cheating by putting a small fire in the foreground and shooting it. So the photo was not retouched, but it was not a representation of the truth. And you see that a lot in the press. Well, I'm a fine art artist. I guess a lot of you guys are fine art artists. We're just trying to make people happy. We're just trying to share the beauty of this world. So if you use a lens or if you use a filter to create an impact, is that cheating? I don't think so. This is a panel I did. Every exposure is 2 minutes, and all I did was use an ND filter. I converted to black and white, but I didn't really use a software for that effect. It was all about the filter. One last, this is a long exposure of Notre Dame, beautiful Notre Dame. It was a great, this one is I think 1.5 minutes long exposure. You get this really stretchy cloud effect. Look at the water, it's completely flat. It does not look like this in reality. This was like 5 seconds of retouching. The whole trick was done with that filter. Now, I'm going to talk to you about my best selling photos in galleries. In case you don't know this, I've been working with the Yellow Corner galleries for the last 6 years now. I got over 80 photos for sale in over 82 galleries around the world. I'm very proud of that. And I'm going to walk you through some of my best selling photos of all times. And you will see some like this one. This is one of my early work. It's very saturated. It's kind of over the top. And this was a lot of retouching. I changed the sky. I did a lot of dodge and burn. It doesn't really look natural, but nevertheless, it's still one of my best-selling photos. This one is another one of my best-selling photos, and it took me literally 5 seconds to retouch. Just open the shadows, bring down the highlights, a little bit of brushing, but like I used a preset on it. I think the whole thing took me like 4 seconds. This one was a little longer. It was an HDR, but still was very fast to retouch. I just wanted to get all the details from the sky and from the CD. It's one of my best-selling photos in gallery. This one was literally 10 seconds of retouching, nothing to it. It was shot at 2000 ISO, and it's also a great setting photo for me. This one was took me a lot of time because I brought in some sky, I made a layer with sepia, and I brushed in back some of the colors. It took me quite some work. This one was very fast. This was a few seconds of retouching. And this one, which by the way was picked up by the state of California to represent Hollywood around the world by the official state of California PR department. This one took me a lot of time. I actually did a video on this. You'll find the link below on how I did this photo, but I added some clouds, did some dodge and burn, cropped the photo. I did quite some work on this one. But here's the point. Whether you spend 20 hours on a photo or whether you spend 5-second photo, it does not matter to me. What matters to me is, do people enjoy your work? Now I'll give you one trick that I've been saying over and over on this channel, which was a big realization for me a long time ago. And that is that when I started using Photoshop and Lightroom, I started going crazy, adding clouds and having really crazy contrasty clouds or super saturated photos. Just like a kid having a toy, I was playing with it, And some of the photos, had a great impact. But when I would show a photo like this to somebody, the first response was always, "Oh, you're good at Photoshop." And I hated that. I didn't want people to know that I'm a retoucher. I want to be a photographer. It took me quite some time to get that photography right. Yes, I enhance it with sky replacement, but still the original frame is kind of cool. So I discovered the work of Peter Leek a while ago, and I walked into many of his galleries, and he apparently sells hundreds of millions of dollars of fine art sales. I know there's controversy about him. I love his work. I mean, I have so much respect for a man who is capable of opening 14 galleries on his own. And I am sure he does a lot of Photoshop retouching, but the thing is that he nails his color really well. What I find, and that was kind of what was wrong in my work, is that if you have a sky like this one, for example, although it was done with an ND filter, that sky is really not natural, very magenta. People, because it doesn't look natural, will respond to, you Photoshopped it. But if you show a photo like this, there is a chance that they will respond, oh, what a great sky, because it's just, a good representation of the colors that was there. So just be careful when you're retouching to not put too much contrast on the skies. And by the way, I made a video just on that called the 5 biggest mistakes in Lightroom. Check also the link below. Last, if you feel bad about retouching your photos or spending a lot of time retouching them, let me introduce to you to one of my mentors, Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams was the king of black and white. He's known as the adventure landscape photographer, the best of all times. And he's known for this kind of, really strong black and white with red contrast, of the national park. This is Point Dome. This is the tunnel view. I mean, he is really, really good, But I don't know if you know this. This is Ansel Adams' son, which was interviewed by Mark Silver, a good friend of mine. And he was walking through Mark the way he was retouching his photos. What he's holding in his hand is what we call the dodge tool. The dodge tool, basically the idea is they were projecting light against a positive paper, and if they wanted to make something brighter, they would dodge the light. They would stop the light from hitting the paper, therefore making it brighter. So that's him showing the different tools. He had something called the zone system. I'm not gonna go into it very much, but the idea is that different parts of the photo had different value of luminosity, and it was achieved through darkroom retouching. This is another tool that they used to use to make something a little brighter. It's the reverse, so the light only hits where there is a hole, making this part brighter. But the problem is that if they didn't nail the retouching, once it was exposing the photo, they had to tear down the paper and redo it until they did it right. And sometimes they had to do it 20 or 30 times. It was a lot of work, way more than I ever spent on any photo ever. This is one of the most famous photos from Ansel Adams. It's called Moon Rise over Hernandez, New Mexico. That's the original negative, and that's the one that's being sold in gallery. You can see how the sky is much darker. Look at the clouds, look at the before, look how the clouds is more contrasting. Look at the village that's almost invisible and how it is there. And so it's not just Ansel Adams, this is some old archive from Magnum where you can see this beautiful photo of Audrey Hepburn, and you can see all the retouching darkroom instructions on the left side to make what you get here on the right side. Same thing with this photo of James Dean in New York, Times Square, under the rain. Or this photo of Muhammad Ali, every round is just an instruction of like +1 stop, -2 stops, heavy retouching, heavy dodge and burn. So here is my thought. Retouching is an art. It's been around since photography was invented. So don't feel bad about using it. Concentrate on the effect you create on your photography. Do people enjoy your work? Do they get some emotion out of it? That's all that matters to me. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. And don't forget to watch my video, the 5 biggest mistakes to avoid in Lightroom, starting right now.